wangu wanyinyi wengi wale mkubwa
Yes, you're welcome on Black Fine Network. Africa Maria from Kampala, Uganda. And
mtu yote vingi kusimama langu
in my language.
so introduce you my language I'm going to introduce you
I introduce in my language. I've never even spoken my language here. But anyway, you're welcome. My language is the most um crazy language. But anyway,
sasa naomba kukusikia mimi ndio call na nilikuwa you found it funny you found it funny for them to speak
because anytime I did have credit, I'm not going to so such credit. Oh, that's how you know that you really. And I was like, what? Somebody moved back corrupt for anything to have in mind. But nowadays it doesn't do it. But anyway, guys, you're welcome. It is me, Africa Maria, my colleague INNOSSETU, and you're welcome. I'm not too familiar with that company.
yesterday maybe next year nakuonekana ili nyukae mwenyewe
Okay.
hmm?
Okay.
ndio wachinjuza Imana gwe babasaze bayagalira
It's raining here in Kampala this morning. And yeah, we are at my place, but we're outside. It's holiday, so the place is all busy, people around. My studio is always in the house. So right here, we are out at my house, just right here. So yeah, you may be asking, where are you at, guys? Yeah, we are out. The topic today is African religion does not promote Christianity. Our audience or our sound may not be that strong because it's raining. I'm at my house, but outside. Let me show you a little. No. Innocent was refused. No, what you need to hang up? Like too long. Hello, good morning. It's morning. Yeah, it's of course 21 minutes past 7 a.m. here in Uganda. That's East African time actually. And good morning. We hope you're doing good and you're welcome on our live. Our voice, I don't know if we are audible enough because we are straining our throats because it's raining and we are at the balcony. So we are at the balcony and the rain is just, you know, um, we are competing with the sound of the rain. But I hope we are audible enough for you guys to hear what we are saying. Now, African religion plays a significant role in fostering unity among Africans by providing a shared cultural and spiritual foundation. Now, we have always looked at the foreign religion that was introduced in Africa, and actually, there is nothing in common that Africa shares with this European or religions that were formed in Africa. Please, whoever, too long, you can comment please and tell us if you guys can hear us well because we are competing with the rain right now. We are seated at the balcony and so I don't know if I'm audible enough, but still you can drop in your comment please and tell me if I'm audible enough. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But meanwhile, I hope that I am. Let me continue. Like I said, whenever we look at things that are causing disunity within African society, we cannot skip the fact that religion, the Western religion, has played a very big role in disuniting Africa to the point that even if you look at the tribal part, causing tribalism, um, religion Sis, uh, you all sound good. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. So, we usually talk about tribes, like tribalism that were created. The Africans are of course discriminate themselves according to tribes. But when you look at the religious part, you realize that the Western religion does not see tribes. People rather associate themselves with that doctrine, that the religion that they are, of course, believing in. You find that Catholics, there is a word they embrace no matter the tribe they are speaking, but as soon as they see you with that rosary, or you are a Catholic person, or you are a Protestant, whatever, there is that unity that is created among themselves. And there is that hate they always spread outside when they see people who do not attend the same church, or who do not follow the same religion. But when you look at Africa's spirituality or Africa's religion throughout history, it shares the same culture with Africa. It shares everything that signifies Africa's promotion. So you realize that African religion was basically focusing on uniting Africans all over the continent. And that's why when you look at African religion, no matter where you are from, whether you're from Nigeria, whether you're from Uganda, whether we are from Sudan, whether you are from Cameroon, there is a lot in common with the African spirituality and African union. So today's topic says that Africa's religion that did not disunite Africans. So if I tell, because first of all, it promotes nature. And we being the Africans, first of all, it's a lesson and amazing. You can't use that. So you can see that that African religions played a significant role in fostering unity among Africans because it provided a shared cultural and spiritual foundation. Now, this belief system often emphasized community, respect for ancestors, and a connection to nature. Now, African religion usually emphasize community, respect for ancestors, and a connection to nature, creating a sense of common identity among diverse ethnic groups. Now, like I said, you will see people. When you go to South Africa, a country like South Africa, you will find a lot of Ugandan spiritual people. First of all, in Africa, for you to be a spiritual person or a spiritual guide or a leader, a spiritual leader, there is a way the public tends to judge you. The public tends to categorize you as an evil person. It tends to categorize you as someone who is not, as long as you're not religious in Africa, actually nowadays you're evil. That is how you are categorized. So you see a lot of people trying to move to places where they feel like some people really understand. Now we have a lot of uh, people practicing spirituality in some areas in South Africa. Actually, South Africa is one of the countries in Africa that has been given liberty to do what they want. You'll find people who believe in spirituality are doing it at a larger scale. People who believe in homosexuality are doing it at a larger scale. People who believe in religion are doing it at a larger scale. And given the fact that South Africa is a very big, country or region in Africa, so you realize that there are very many people now. You see, I'm giving you an example how African tradition unites. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. The religion suits no matter where we go. We have African, Ugandan spiritual leaders who moved to South Africa, and they are working for those people. They are training them spiritually, and the South Africans are exhibiting that they're of course practicing it, and things are moving on. There are some who are in Cameroon, and actually they are Ugandans, and they're doing this. And even the people in Cameroon know that this is the spiritual a spiritual tutor from Uganda, but they're still exercising the same thing and they're still carrying it out despite the fact that they're Cameroonians. And you still travel to um, down to some other parts like Rwanda and other areas where you find spiritualists coming from different locations of Africa, and they still carry out that, and they mentor people, they teach them stuff, and they do carry that. So when it comes to Africa religion, there is no boundary of ownership, there is no boundary of selfness, there is no boundary of identifying you whether you are a Nigerian or Yoruba or Igbo, whatever. It is what it is. It is African spirituality and it does not have boundary to that. That's why it usually focused on community respect for ancestors and connection of nature, which created a sense of common identity. Nature is nature no matter where you go. So there is no way you can say, all right, we have nature is different. Nature is the same. So you realize that this was the purpose of our religion. Now, additionally, rituals and ceremonies in African religion serve as occasions for communal gathering, promoting social cohesion and solidarity. Now we used to have rituals and ceremonies in Africa religion. These ceremonies were categorized in state. They were categorized actually. You know, this time around we are going to make. You see when people go to church and they start praying, we are praying for all the unmarried, unmarried. You can, last time I was at my brother's wedding, they were calling unmarried people to come in front. Mubatwale kumugisa. Me, I didn't go because it was like crazy. So people, oh, hmm? You married. Some people used to go stop. People went, and of course they started praying for you. Were not married, may you get married, stuff like that. Oh, a lot of women went in for it. Now, in African spirituality, we had rituals and ceremonies. When you give birth, you celebrate. When someone dies, they celebrate. And nowadays people mourn, but in African spirituality, we knew that there is that re- rebirth. People would just connect with nature and maybe come in again. So African spirituality did not believe that people would die completely. Because if you knew someone is not going to die completely, people would then be crying all a lot. And secondly, people used not to die at a younger age. So in African spirituality, birth and death were both celebrated. Now, I say celebration rituals were in categorized. One, we had rituals that were rituals for the unmarried people. Occasionally, they would gather, and through this ceremony, you would see this as okay. Probably they are going to do stuff for me so that I get married, but it was always accompanied with the community identifying that someone's daughter or someone's son is unmarried. As this ritual takes place, people are identifying the unmarried people. What's together? Now, like in Church I'm speaking. I'm speaking now. Let me not speaking. So, Mbako, why do you say that? That's you again. I'm going to finish. I'm going. Stop doing that. Stop. So, through these rituals, of course, Africans shared values and moral principles embodied in this belief system, contributing to their sense of collective identity, helping to unite people across uh, various areas in Africa. So like
Mhm.
these rich these rituals that people usually carried out. One of the rituals
Your neighbors. Uh-huh.
Chikutem.
And I took care of this. You know, down to the-
These rituals that were, of course, you know, there were rituals that were supposed to be carried out communally. When you talk about African religion, first thing that people look at is that maybe categorizing it with
Mhm.
Igbo sacrifices. A lot of people,
African traditional
yeah,
religion.
yeah. When you look at what the Europeans or the whites usually spoke
Mm.
about the African religion, it was usually categorized with the human sacrifices.
Mm.
And there is no African
Mm.
religion that
Actually,
sacrifices humans.
even up to now, like when you talk about African traditional religion, according to the mindset that me put actually in the minds of people, people directly think about sacrifice,
Yeah.
human sacrifice.
Mhm.
So African traditional religion is accompanied with sacrifice. I don't know why, because I've never seen that.
So yeah, and
As in,
above
the
and over,
traditional.
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
tradition.
I follow my religion, my own religion, traditional religion, but I've never seen human sacrifices.
People
Mm.
they usually use to categorize that we grew up as children. We grew up when we are scared
Actually,
because
about
you know
going in those
anytime,
areas,
yeah,
kutegeera nga olabirisa butosala.
anytime you see a shrine or an African tradition
Yeah.
area where spiritual spiritualism is practiced, you would get scared because they would usually categorize this with evil.
Yeah.
And a lot of people still have that in mind. But there is one thing I've learned as growing up is that as you practice religion, this Western religion, there are also rituals that you do. For example, baptism. They baptize you. That is a ritual. Baptism is a ritual. As much as the word ritual sounds weird, more especially in the African ears, when we talk about ritual, the first thing that comes is that this is something to be associated with the evil. But in the African spirituality or even in the religion, there is baptism. They either immerse you in the water or they sprinkle water on your forehead or whatever. Or the Muslims, I don't know, they have their own other things, but they initiate you in their cult. Because me, I call the religion a cult. Because it forces you to follow their rules and every stuff. So they initiate you in their cult and you swear to be part of that cult. You become part of that cult. That is religion. There is a lot of cultism in religion. Now, African spirituality, despite the fact that a lot of people do not really understand what African spirituality is, yes, there is rituals. You get initiated in it. You get initiated in this. Um, um, but usually in African spirituality, that's why we got some people who say, "Oh, yeah, you can't be Ozaba Mwanga." You know that shit better. You can tell me. Well, when you know, I'm sorry, let me ask. When you have, oh shit, when you have, when you when you go, can you go to a different spiritualist? Nakuwa edagala nga toli wampewezi.
Mm.
Eh?
Mm.
Ate abantu abamu nga bagamba olina kubeera wampewezi.
Basically, those spirituality people,
Mm.
because I'll take it Africans we are one people. That's why someone who's from Uganda goes to South Africa and
Mm.
does well. Which take it,
Mm.
so it doesn't have limit that we don't want this kind of people. We
Mm.
don't want this. Even the Wazungus come here to seek that.
Mm.
Together, you
Mm.
see them with Mama Fina.
Yeah, I see them.
Together.
Mm.
So it doesn't have that separatism that we don't want this kind of people. We don't want this everyone.
Mm.
You
Mm.
kati
So,
ffe tuli bankimali. You mean bw'ogenda ewaffe tebakujjanjaba?
nze mukyala wanje.
Kale, basically, African spirituality, it doesn't have that separatism, that disunity, that kind of we don't want this kind of people,
Mm.
we don't allow these people. Even when someone has done like something, a big how can I call it? Omusango munene, a big
Mm.
crime like
Mm.
killing someone is welcome. They welcome everyone.
So usually,
Mm.
people usually categorize this. I don't know. Growing up, I was so afraid of shrines. But despite that, we used to do this in school. Like we do tradition when we are doing music, dance, and drama. And we would do all the practices, and we are promoting it. We are communicating through music. We are so and it at the end you would see that it's like a normal thing. Now when I grew up, I realized that, like I said, that religion also is a cult. So they initiate you, you do what they want you
I
to do,
normally
there is
see
sacrifice. And
I normally see born agains whenever they find you in the world, they'll be like, you at least accept that Jesus is what and what and what. But there are certain things they say our local.
mm,
You accept, you swear in.
before they, yeah, you have to swear that me.
Like I once found a woman in our village. The woman was like, you guy, swear in. After swearing in, they write you down with your phone number.
Bajyana kukusabira. These people they initiate at two.
They tell you to swear. After swearing in, they write your number down and your name. They even said, if you know that, like, if you're not good at this religion, you don't know much about this religion, we shall come at your home and teach you about this religion.
Because they want to recruit you.
Yeah, I told the woman I will come at your place, not even at the church. She got scared.
That kind of color.
So the woman got scared. We know that traditional Africans share the basic instinct of gregariousness with the rest of our humankind. Families and members of kin groups from minimal to maximum lineages generally live together and form community. Africans, we share life intensely in common. Our life is common. Even if you go to Kenya, even if you go to Nigeria, even if you go to Zambia, you go to, of course, Niger, of course, you go to Zimbabwe. Africans, we share we share life intensely. Our life is common. So there are communal farmland, economic trees, streams, banks. Yeah. Mhm. So they are, I was saying that there are communal farmland, economic trees, streams, bands, and markets. So there are communal shrines,
Mm.
eh?
Mm.
Squares, okitegeera, ritual objects and festivals for recreation activities, social, economic, and religious purposes. So members of the same kindred or clan could distinguish themselves by their prophecy in a particular trade, okitegeera,
Mm.
skill or profession. Together,
mm,
we know very well that, like for example,
mm,
my clan,
mm,
we have a different role among the African spirituality
mm,
and towards the king.
mm,
Together,
mm,
to Inomuga. So there are certain things as we, my clan, we do, like, and other clans don't do them.
mm,
Together.
mm,
So some traditional African communities or even entire language group may be experts in rain making. Together,
mm,
huh?
mm.
Or stopping rain.
Yeah,
You know that.
I know.
Hmm?
Mm,
So voodoo carving, practice of traditional medicine.
mm,
Together.
mm,
Or blacksmithing. For example, the voodoo of South Africa, the the Ibibio of southeast Nigeria, and the Aqua in Iboland were widely reputed for their skills in rainmaking, wood carving, and blacksmithing, respectively. Hmm?
mm, mm.
So these are similar features, characteristics, and communal life of both agrarian and nomadic groups of traditional Africa. Closeness to nature. Africans, we are close to nature.
Mm.
It's even about most of the people know about this. We are close to nature. Huh? So the experience of life is
We
in terribly hazardous
we know we are
environment, and the crucial need for security and better performance in the means of livelihood are some relevant factors that actually combine to deepen the nature of impulse for the sense of community among the different African people. For traditional Africans, community is much more than simply a social grouping of people born together for reasons of natural origin and common interests and values. It is both a society as well as unity of the visible and invisible worlds. Hmm?
mm, mm,
So
mm.
the world of the physically living on the hand and the world of the ancestors. So this is the world of the physical people that are living, but there is also that world of those people that are not living, of our ancestors that lived before us.
And me,
Mm,
I know ancestors.
mm,
There
mm,
is a world for
mm,
the ancestors.
mm, mm,
According to my own experience,
mm,
there I'm not someone who is so like
mm,
um I cannot say that I'm someone who understands African religion so huge
mm,
or at a very larger scale,
mm,
but I'm someone who has ever felt that touch. I've never, like, not by going to a spiritual person to tell me stuff, but
mm,
I've always had this in me. Throughout, by the way. So I believe because there is one thing, you see, when Christians are praying, they always call upon the saints. They tell
mm.
you
To
Saint
guide.
Michael is a warrior.
Mm,
Or, if you want to win a war, call Saint Michael.
Michael.
Those are the
Mm,
Catholics. They'll tell you, do you want to, have you lost something? Are you
mm,
looking for a job? Do
mm,
you want to find a job? You pray from Saint Anthony.
mm,
They'll tell you Saint Anthony is a finder. No matter what you're looking for, is it a husband? Is it a wife? Is it a job? Have you lost something in your house that you're looking for? Just say Saint Anthony. Just pray and call his name. You're gonna get it.
mm,
And Catholics do this, and it works.
mm,
It is because they do it.
mm,
They will tell you, do we have a pattern of peace?
mm,
Is your house, doesn't your house have peace? You pray to those patrons
mm,
and you believe that peace is going to come in your house.
mm,
Now, in African spirituality, um, unfortunately, it has lost its meaning.
mm,
I told you that story sometime. I was struggling with my tuition and stuff like that. I was Yeah, like my we were trying to find tuition. I was supposed to sit for my final paper and stuff. Next time. And so I was like pissed because like they were giving me a deadline. Like, Maria, if you don't register, you're not going to sit for your final exams and stuff like that. I was very confused about it. I was like, why? Why is this happening like right now? I mean, and I was trying to raise my money. My mom, at that time, mom was working for the government, and she was saying like our salary is delaying and stuff. So I was questioning like, why is this? Why is this happening? There are things people usually, when you talk at some stuff, more especially when it comes to Africa, you feel like it is magic. Someone who has never understood this will feel like this is magic. How can that really happen? Shit, it happens really. I was young. I was not, but I did not have like much connection with my grandma, but at her final, like 3 to 4 years down the road of her death, we had that strong connection. She was somebody like I used to talk to about a lot of things. So I just said to myself, I was like, if my grandmother was alive, probably I would have told her about this. And maybe I would have heard some answers about stuff. I just said it with my heart. I was feeling bad about it. As like you sit on your bed, cry out, think about shit, how life is hard and crap. I went to bed. My grandma, my grandmother came in my dream. It was like a dream for a very long time. Like, why did this dream come? Someone will say it was your subconsciousness. Someone will say, no, your subconsciousness was involved in the stuff and things like that. But my grandmother told me where I can get the money from. Actually, in my dream, she was like, call Frank. I have my uncle, he's called Frank. So my grandmother said, if it was my subconsciousness, if it was that, why did he tell me to call Frank? And I called my uncle in the morning. I told him about shit. He said, Maria, I'm connecting the money on your phone. I'm going to wire the money right now. You have to do your exams. Why didn't your mom tell me? And stop. My uncle gave me the money. Who told me in that dream? It was my grandmother. My grandmother had died. So if it was something, I would say, all right, I dreamt about my grandmother because she was at the back of the mind before I went to bed and stuff. You understand? So I believe there is that world of spirit. There is that spiritual world. And I'm telling you something, at times we Africans are going through a lot of things because we have neglected the most important part of our life. Because these ancestors that we usually talk about, they're ancestors who have experienced
Life
life.
before.
They
Yeah.
have experienced life. And I can tell you that we live in a tradeful life. You come to realize that at times, what you're living, your dad has ever experienced. This is what we call the trade. A family trait. Usually we have what we call a family trait. You'll find that this family, they are drunkards. Like apparently a lot of people drink. They are drunkard. There are people, they do a lot of shit. You find it's a trait. You're a drunkard, your uncle was, your dad was, stuff like these traits are following all the time. So your ancestors have experienced apparently 85% of the things you're going through. They have experienced 85% of the things you have gone through. They have experienced it, they have overcome, they have failed. So they have answers. Because at times when you fail shit, at times you're like, if I had done this different, you understand? Maybe things would be better. If I had done this different, I wouldn't be experiencing what I'm experiencing right now. But at times, it is too late. You understand? So these are people who have probably lived the life you are living right now. They have answers to the questions that you're looking for. But we do neglect, and actually, we associate we associate ancestors with evil. When you go to religion, the first thing they preach about is don't connect yourself with the dead. This is in church.
Don't praise the
Let the dead
dead.
die.
Yeah.
The dead are so evil. Let the dead die. You are living, you're talking to the dead. But at the
They,
end,
they,
we
they
pray to
always.
those saints the white saints who died, are they not dead? So you'll be like, don't associate yourself with the dead. Those people are already gone. You cannot call the dead to live, to the living. You are tied to death stuff. But we pray to the dead. Except that these deads are Mexicans, they are Latinos. You understand? These dead are Spanish, they're Italians, they're Brazilians, the dead people we are praying to. That's the only what makes a Mexican dead or an Italian dead person different from the person who has ever carried me in their arms. What makes them so special than a person who has ever fed me? What makes them special than a person who has ever given birth to me? This is usually the question I'm asking, because at the end of the day, we are embracing the dead in the name of saint. The only difference, these dead people are from different areas, not Africa. So I'm praying. We have Saint Lucia. She was and of Fatima. They saw Mary, Virgin Mary. Virgin Mary appeared, on the mountain. They were around, and of course they prayed. So Saint Lucia, when you want anything, ask for Saint Lucia. All right. We are praying. We are praying about Goretti. Goretti died. She was raped by. She was I think a Mexican lady. She died. She was raped and by a guy. So she's a patron of forgiveness because she was brutally raped, and at the bed, this very guy who raped her, she asked that guy who raped her to come to the sick bed, and she touched the guy and was like, I forgive you for what you did, and I hope we meet. So next time you meet, you will marry me. You understand? So she became so special in the eyes of the Bazung, and now people pray. You pray to Goretti, pray to Maria Goretti. She's a saint of forgiveness. If you feel like your heart is not kind enough to forgive somebody, pray to her. She's going to give you the power, of you. She will give you that. She will share with you her kindness. But already in the process of you praying, you already want to forgive. What's again? You acknowledging that you want to forgive someone is the step of you forgiving someone. There is no power, there is no magic to that. But so we have got our ancestors who have done a lot of great things. Tulina bwe tumanyi nti oyo yali mugezi, tosobola musala magezi n'ataka kuwa. Tunali bwe twali tumanyi nti oyo he was someone. So we also have people who have represented. I'm praying to Maria Goretti atamanyi. He doesn't even know how it is raining in Africa. Maybe they've even never experienced rain. So in Africa, we had that. And when someone who has never experienced this will sometimes think it is magic. Some other people will feel like, no, it's a lie. But in Africa, when it is season for planting, they had the people they would pray to, knowing that it's going to happen. If you want a good harvest, in my culture, when people used to go to hunt, they used to pray for kabuhigi. Kabuhigi, if you change that name muhigo means hunting. So you do pray, and you also pray for the gods that govern nature. The gods of the wilderness, the god of nature. And if you Africans throughout, they used not to do things just. You don't wake up and go in the bush. Before you enter that place to hunt, imagine if I had a wig.
kamera wano najibika
Waizokamera pale yani. Anyway. Anyway, so so people wouldn't just Lando, you're welcome on our live. Marian, innocent greetings, family greetings, and to you, Lando. Hope you're doing good. Um, Mbadwe kugamba, people wouldn't do things. People wouldn't.
Someone yambadde enkofiira.
Stop.
Okay, people wouldn't do that.
Stop doing that. So, yeah, okay.
People wouldn't do it. So, I left you like that.
Oh my God.
You said people wouldn't do it.
People people wouldn't do things without, first of all, you know, let me use the word praying because it's let me use the word praying, right? Yeah, because I don't know how they say that in spiritual. I don't know. I see like praying is so much associated with the religion or the Western religion, but so people wouldn't do anything without consulting or praying about it in African spirituality. For example, you would not wake up and go hunting. Always together without you praying for nature. First of all, to permit you to go and pick whatever it is that you're going to hunt. You would not even enter the forest or the hunting grounds without you asking nature to guide you on that. So each time Africans were actually spiritually strong because they believed that the Africa and nature are inseparable. Africans could connect with nature. That's why it was possible for Africans to decide whether it should rain or not. Have you ever story? There is someone who made the rain on the president of Uganda from our area. You know, he's someone who usually talks about religion a lot. So, so he wasn't believing in this guy. He was first time he came. You cannot be doing that stuff. It was a long time ago. This incident happens long time. So he was demeaning this man. He even said that I'm coming for you to prove to me. You know, the president like keeps on talking about religion, God, stuff like that. So the guy was like, all right, you want to test me? The president came, you know, the sun was raining with those people. Sorry, it was hot. So you had his escort with the umbrella. That dude. So when he went, and actually when he went to, he was demeaning this guy. So when the guy came, the guy said, whatever the guy did, the rain started raining on the president of Uganda only. The rain did not rain anywhere. This is a true thing. Only on him. And it was in other places, everyone was like, what is going on? He started running with his umbrella. He said, I can even bring thunder. You can even hear the thunderstorms right now. He even became wet. Always together. He even started respecting this guy. For him, he was always talking about religion. He started respecting this guy. Ne yabba omugogwe. Yabba omugogo oyo guy.
Yogala kumuwama.
Kati guy yafa. Kuba omugo gumuwangazza for a very long time. He had, and let me not talk about those things. But he stole that thing from that guy. I told your guy he was a priest. Now let me tell you, before when they introduced religion, when they introduced Christianity and Catholicism, that guy was training to be a priest. But himself, wow, so he realized there is no Christianity was a religion of other people, not the Africans. Ate naye omuggo yagubba ku mukadde yabeeranga ku Kiguuya, waliwo akasozi ke bayita Kiguuya eyo Masindi. Nabba omukadde, that old man had yawangala for a very long time.
What was in that stick?
When that stick had kiringanga mwe baaterekamu like eringanga poto wikigera nga erimu amaanyi. So when I'm going to cut the story short because it may cause me trouble, I'm live. So the president of Uganda invited that guy in the state house. So when he came, he used to go and visit. After it rained on him, he started believing that guy is connected with the strong spiritualism. So he saw the stick of that guy and he went and nakolomuti. Because he usually had a stick that you could stand. I told you that he has it. Agina. First he had drafting a stick in a Chigana. So we have Funa, he got people who made it exactly thing that looks like the one that he had. Of course, when your African spirituality have symbols, like the way Christians have rosaries, you find Catholics having rosaries, a cross and stuff. Even African spirituality has those symbols. They have those symbols. So he had his symbol, and his symbol was an ancestral stick. So what the president of Uganda did, okay, I'll not mention that name again, but for those who are watching will understand. So what the guy did, he invited him to the state house. When he invited him to the state house, you know, when you are entering, you leave everything at a checkpoint. They tell you remove everything, your bless red stuff. He put his stick down. They changed the stick. They gave him they gave him this other element. So I think on holding it, he knew there were no strength in that stick he was holding. And now the dude, of course, for those who have been watching, know the guy I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention that name again. Had he taken the real element he had. And are you talking about Simon Toko? No, Simon Toko. No, that Simon Toko is another story. Now this is a guy here in Uganda, actually. So when this man that I'm not going to mention took the stick, the moment this one crossed the checkpoint, he held it, and he knew they have stolen my element. He knew that the stick he was carrying was empty. And he knew it was his end, because at times their lives, they get connected to these elements they have, that when those elements are no more, at times it can destroy you. So he knew if he caused a saga at the state house, it may not go well with him. He may die like a dog. So he just told him, my friend, man, kansuubire naawe kyokola oyo guys wakufa kati paka ng'ogomugoba gumubyeko nze nkubuulire anti naye bagenda gumubbako. Omukadde yalina ogumugo yalina emyaka 2. Oyo that very guy naye yagubba ku mukadde oyo alina emyaka ebyo. naye buli wogubba ogenda n'emisalaba gyangu ate nakasaba gukubbako ng'ogenda. So that guy, the one who had that stick, a lot of people used to come from Germany, where he usually used a lot nga oba oli mugumba oba kino abazungu abatazaalanga abazaalisi n'abaagala okwesimbawo mu mawanga g'ebweru. Ng'omuggo gwe saagula.
Omuggo naye gona butakuwadagala nakuteekako buteesa muggo.
Yagukuteekako.
Ate gubeera buzito naye ogukwata tukadamba webaka wansi naye tosobola kusitula kugejjako naye nga it is a normal state.
So this guy realized
actually that's what made me to believe in him. She told me ebizibu byonna biriwo osobola okusitula baguvaawo. It was like omanyi akazito kuno obuzito like 200 kilograms.
So the other so the other guy ate naye omugojjukira yali agubbye ku mukadde.
But for me, what I thought about this African spirituality and the elements, if an element belongs to someone, even if you steal it, the powers go back.
No.
Si wekiri.
Olaba the moment oba okaluuzinze element yo kasi togiruuzinga. Because it is something that you must fight and die for. Oba omaze obba disappointing. Oyo guy teyandikiriza kuteeka mugo mutwe. He would have said, let me go back. He showed at that moment when he showed yaziraga nti no waliwo asinga amaanyi g'abantu. Kuba isinga yabasaba abulewo n'okubulawo abeera eri yandikikoze. Omuntu asobola okutonyesa enkuba yali tasobola kubulawo n'ayingira eri munde wa president. Shebayita kyalema okumanya nti wano bano b'amaanyi n'asa omuggo wansi oli n'agumukyapulako. Ate nga n'omukadde bw'atyo yamutrustinga. Mukadde yamutrustinga n'ono naye n'agubba cwe ebintu babibbanga. Why do you know there are a lot of cults. There are a lot of cults in America. There are a lot of cults in Europe. Why do you think most of the people who lead these cults are black people? The blood that is used for sacrifice, the blood that is used to awaken, is the blood from the black people. There is no blood from the white people in the American cults or in the European cults that is used to awaken spirits. They will still use the blood of the black people. They will still cut because, like I said, it is a ritual. There are people who lead these rituals. That there must be black people. There are no white people who lead spiritual things, no matter where they are. They are black people, even if at times they hide their images because they don't want to show that black people are doing things, are greater things, or they are leading in some things. But behind the curtains, the real leaders of these spiritual things are usually black people. It is them who awaken all this spiritualism. Because first of all, we are the genesis of humankind. We are the genesis of humankind. And if we are talking about ancestors, we are talking about humans who have fallen. So you cannot use the blood of a Mzungu. You cannot cut a Mzungu and pour their blood in a cup and invoke the spirits. Whether you are in America, whether you are where, you cannot invoke.
You remember the other video we watched of that Ugandan man who used to traffic a kid, and he used to take them to Britain for child sacrifice. Black Ugandan kids.
And comment. So there is no way you can invoke. There is no way you can invoke. Because our blood is carbon based on pure, if you O negative blood type. All right. Our blood is carbon based on pure. Okay, that's a new thing. So all over the world, no matter where, it is African blood that is used to embark spirits. It is African blood that is used to raise the spirits, if at all. People always talk about Illuminati things. People always talk about cults. People always talk about, the cults, the cults that most of the musicians join and stuff like that. You do not find white people leading cultism, more especially if it has got something to deal with magic, if it has got something to deal with the spirituality. It is only black people who lead in that. It is only black people who have the right and the powers to invoke and call upon, of course, the ancestors. Now it is the same story. I don't know why people usually think you can associate this with the human sacrifice, because throughout Africa, spirituality wasn't basing on human sacrifices. It wasn't based on human sacrifices. And I'm telling you, like you said, that omuntu waba, when they steal something, it runs back. It doesn't. In America, if you look at the dollar, you will see there are two poles, centers a dollar and pound with it. Those things were stolen from Africa.
Even before even the pyramid.
They even
Does-
have a pyramid on the American dollar. Olava, ebintu bino, there is too much of spirituality in our existing life. And people usually look at the things and they neglect them. You see, spirits are things, spirits are real. But it depends on how you use. There are people who are very evil in this world. They are living. And when they die, they still remain evil because that is them. They can never change. There are people who are robbers. There are people who are thieves. When they die, they still remain thieves. They can never change. That's why someone you will go to a spiritualist. Because me, first of all, I believe that you cannot do me something bad and go scot-free. I may not do something to you. Me, this is something I believe because I've seen that happen. I don't go like I'm going to a spiritualist, I want to pay you back. You can never do something to me and you go scot-free. And I don't do anything. Most hybrid blood is neither Thor or monkey DNA. Yeah, true, Lando. So you cannot use that blood when you are invoking the high people with the something, small. So me, you cannot do something and you got scot-free. Zemba money at a certain time, something will happen to you. I thought you will remember. But there are some people who invoke the real spirits. We have even seen scenarios, except that there are things at times I don't like there are things that are not right for someone to film and star. Have you ever seen when they are burying someone on
Recently, we were watching a video on TikTok whereby I don't know whether you watched that video.
Yeah, the one they put medicine. They don't know how the medicine.
No, like they killed someone's dad because they're working on a farm, a Mailunji farm, a Mira farm.
I didn't watch.
So after the man died, why he spent like 2 weeks
In the farm.
no
In the
being
grave.
buried, being buried. He spent like 2 weeks, then he came back through her daughter. Then it was like, you guys, you killed me. I even took my blanket from my house. You do a lot of stuff. So the girl was talking a lot. She's on TikTok.
I didn't see that. Like I said, spirits are real. Even if people will deny it, even people I know they know it's just a scary thing for you to say that someone is normal. But like I said, When people die, they don't change. If that person was someone with a bad character, even their spirits will be spirits of bad character. That's why at times it's hard for you to have a family which is full of people who have, dark hearts, for you to succeed, because usually you have no one to pray to. These people are as jealousy as they were even before they died. These people are as envious as they were even before they died. So at times, um, I'm making comments this based on some of your statements, but what is the topic of the day? Lando says, okay, yes, Lando, thank you for those comments. The topic is African religion does not promote disunity, Lando. The topic says that Africa religion does not promote disunity. That means, in other words, the European religion does promote disunity. First, we elaborated. Unfortunately, you were not around. But I said Africa religion exercises unity throughout. And that's why when you're an African religious person, you can still go and be the same person when you are in South
USA.
Africa. USA, you are far. They may not understand that game. You go to South Africa, you get that respect. You get people who believe in you and they will do as you told and they will practice what you're saying and it
Do you
will
know
work
that?
for them.
Do you know we have a lot of Tanzanians, Kenyan spiritualists here in Uganda,
Mhm.
and they are doing good. No one is beating their
So,
back.
so there is
Mm,
no limit
mm,
to that. There
mm,
is no boundary that, all right, since I'm a Ugandan, your spirit is not going to work for me. I have to go back to where I come from. So that, no, because we are one in
mm.
a lot. Unfortunately,
But
Lando wasn't here when we
you
were
know very
discussing about
well
that.
about the churches we have
Ngenda
in
nogenda
Africa.
nkulekemu eddakiika nga nkunyemu.
Okunya ebiki naye ndowooza
Nkunyemu nteeke
otandiki.
mu sooki mu baffe endala nkomewo. Sigenda kwanika. Just nzijjamu ne nteekamu endala. Si nnyingi.
So I was saying you know about the churches here in Kampala or even in other African countries, whereby there are two churches of the same religion. When they are even near, but they don't connect. They don't relate. They talk ill about themselves. Nga bonna balokole, but they believe in different ideologies, I guess. They're, besides even that, you know that along that road, there are like four churches.
And
But
they are all of the
but
same
yeah, but
religion.
is it necessary? But people
Because
are
it's a
like,
business. It's
yeah,
like when
people are
people have a
divided. Yeah,
shop.
people are divided differently. Okitegeera? Mhm. So, so we know that the world of I talked about the world of ancestors, divinities, and souls of the children yet to be born to individual kin groups. So, in a
So
wider
there.
sense, African traditional community comprehends the totality of the world of African experience, including physical environment, as well as the spirit beings acknowledged by the given group. We know that the network of relationship among human beings are remarkably extended and deep. In fact, the words family, brother or sister, we know, etc., whatever, define far more for Africans than what they mean today for the average European and North America. Yeah. The family for the traditional African usually includes one direct parents, grand, granny, and great grandparents. Brothers, sisters, uncles, and aunties, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and normally a child would refer to any of his uncles and aunties and his father or mother, his nephews and nieces, and of course, his brothers and sisters. People generally do not ask a child or a personal name Rather, a child is identified as a child of so and so parents. You get that, Maria? So the extended family system is the model. The molecular family pattern is alien and believed to be inimical to the traditional value or community. Actually, it is not only in recent times that the latter system began to surface mainly in urban towns as a result of external influences in African continent. The extended family structure is held up to people as model and one in which parents, grandparents, uncles, aunties, nephews, and nieces live together and are cared for by the children, grandchildren, and other relatives in mutual love and respect. We know that. So, the invisible members, especially ancestors and spiritual beings, are powerful and by far superior to human beings. So their reality and presence in the community are duly acknowledged and honored among various traditional African groups. Neglect could actually spell disaster for human beings and the community. Okitegeera nti neglect for our ancestors um, it could represent different symbols, like I mean it could spell out disaster for human beings, neglecting our ancestors. And very many people in Africa, they are neglecting that like tebamanyi the outcome of all this. Okitegeera, they neglect ancestors. Kyova olaba most of the people bagwa eddalu, most of the people nowadays beebaka with their kids. Okitegeera, they sleep around with their kids. So Randall says there is a difference between religion and spirituality. African religion is spiritual connection with our consciousness, and European religion is binding or enslavement of consciousness. Okitegeera. So, yeah, that is true. And African spirituality is more based, I mean, African religion is more based on spirituality. Like I said, invisible beings are represented by different kinds of symbols like carved objects, shrines, and sacred altars. They may also be recorded in personal names given to the children, especially in cases where particular ancestors or spirit beings are held to have reincarnated in individual children. So, the presence of our ancestors in particular felt in traditional African community, they believed to be benevolent and powerful representatives of the community in spirit lands. West African groups, this includes carved ancestral stool among the Akan of the Ghana and Okopensi among the traditional Igbo. There are also the shrines. Wanji? Eh, mm, mm. There is also, listen to this, there is also shrines of the Muzimu. You know that? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Muzimu among the Baganda of Uganda. Yeah, this
What
is
is
true.
from yours?
Yeah, this is
You
true.
have that in your village.
That is that is true. That is true. There are shrines for Muzimu among the Baganda of Uganda. The reality and presence of spiritual members are equally acknowledged through several taboos found in many African communities. For example, women within the women within the childbearing age are born to serve several prohibitions among the traditional Igbo. Such women run a serious danger of becoming childless if they follow such taboos, since it could result in scaring away souls of unborn babies and are believed to hover around the homesteads and families wanting to incarnate the wombs of potential mothers. We know that we have taboos, full taboos here in Uganda. Among very many clans in Uganda, we have taboos. You find people like they'll be like, we don't eat fish during this time. We don't eat this kind of food during this time. Reason being, this um, this reason being this this actually these people don't want uh, to incarnate a lot of things in their lives to happen to them. So most traditional African groups, including the traditional Yoruba of Nigeria, of course, and the Dogon of Mali, have intriguing scared stories or myths that tell how the world, human beings, and important institutions come into being. Such sacred stories generally underscore the involvement of ancestors and mythical beings in the life and affairs of the community of the physical living. They also try to explain the significance of different rituals for human beings and their importance in life. Kitegeera? So, the central myth of a priestly castle group of Inli in Igbo heartland, for example, relates that it was the supreme being Guchu that gave Ili people their traditional home community. More significantly, it was the Guchu that constituted them into special priestly class, set them apart from the rest of traditional Igbo people with a definite duty to serve as ritual spiritualists. We know very well that the Igbo people in Nigeria, they are the spiritualists. Also, and some part, and that is actually, but the Yoruba, it is a smaller group among the Yoruba.
Ah,
Eh,
Yorubas do that
they
shit.
do it by a
You
smaller
never
group.
heard about the Yoruba God. My God, Bakola. Bakufuna Yoruba banoko. Bate we bachiikirira ne spiritualism.
I thought the Igbos.
No, Yorubas even their gods are known. The Igbos are do practice spiritualism,
Mm,
but Yorubas baina gods,
mm,
baina Osun, they have different gods. I
mm,
understand about Yoruba spiritualism.
mm,
Never
mm,
babikola.
mm. The Igbos.
Yeah, the Igbos also in Africa actually people do shit.
Mm,
Never Yoruba very prominent.
mm.
I mean,
Tewali aliko. So, the original covenant was between the Gucho and the Eli. They are the ancestor of the Neri people. The Eri and his wife Namaku had accepted a near impossible feat to sacrifice their only son and only daughter to Guchu in order to obtain food. Yam, the prince of Igbo agricultural crops, um, had sprouted from the grave of the son and cocoyam from the grave of the daughter. As a reward of their obedience, Guchu bestowed on Eri the special privilege of being, of course, the traditional high priest with exclusive right to cleanse all forms of abomination, especially those connected with the yam crop among the Igbo, which gave Eli the awful symbol. I know the Nigerians, they know about this awful symbol, so that he would be able to speak to Guchu through the medium of a symbol. Ontosi became the ancestral symbol of the authority, while also signify the ritual authority of the high priest. What this myth accomplishes is to define the legitimate for the people both the divine origin of the grossly canite community of the Neri, as well as the source of the special right of the privileges which the group enjoyed among the Igbo and their neighboring language groups. Of course, in the case of the traditional Yoruba, listen very well. Of course, you talked about Maria. You talked about the Yoruba being too much into spiritualism in Nigeria. But listen, so the powerful mythical ancestor was credited with the establishment of the great Yoruba Empire, and virtually every traditional Yoruba community tries to trace its connection with mythical hero. Similarly, among the Baganda, Chitegeera, in Uganda, of course, every community tries to connect with the Chibuka. You know, Chibuka was a mythical hero. I heard about that guy's story and how he gave up. But you people, there is a way you killed our people. There is a way you destroyed our kingdom. Ate omudawo ne mwemwana. Imwe. Do you know how do you know the end of Chibuka? Eh? Ja, Jali. They said he's mythical, but Leo. I know. I know. I know. I know. It's serious. But this guy, and like most writers say these things are mythical. Abasinga because they have never seen them. Ochitegeera. Yeah. The story of the Chibuka. Okay. Lie too long says I agree. All right. So Chibuka, the decline of Chibuka was like this. Chibuka, he was a great hero, a warrior. Yali mulwanyi nnyo wa Kabaka. He was a fighter of the king among the Baganda people. How did this guy decline? The guy got actually whenever Buganda could Uganda fight Bunyoro, the guy could yaletanga obudde bwakwatanga ekire nga kikwata the clouds could come. After the clouds coming, okitegeera, because they used to say that he used to fight in the air. Okitegeera, whenever the clouds could come, the guy could hit the Banyolo warriors to death. So kati Abanyolo ne bagamba, how can we defeat this man? In fact, the guy used to fight alone without others. They got her wife, a Munyoro wife. Listen, they got her. Listen. Abasajja obamanyi, wulira. They got her a wife. After getting her wife, so the guy, you manyi obeera n'omukazi you sell out. So the wife was like, oh, you warrior, you what? How do you do that? Manyi omusiri we agamba, whenever the crowds are dark, I ninyo omuti. I go into I climb the tree. After climbing the tree, I start hitting them from the tree. But there were no magics. Yadanga muti naba hitting. For them, they didn't realize that the guy was free, was in the trees. They thought he comes with the what?
The clouds.
With the clouds. And the next time the guy went to fight, all the Banyolos obusaale bwonna n'amafumu baateeka waggulu ng'ekyekikutte yagenda okujja n'avaayo n'ava. That was the end of him. That was the end of Chibuka.
Of course, at that time, Chibuka story yaliwo dda nga abazungu tebannajja.
Yeah. It was before the Bazungu, but Bagandas were so even some Banyoros, the Bagandas were stubborn. They used to go and rob Bunyoro. They used to go and fight. Buganda was a small kingdom, and the other one was an empire. Which they did. So they could go and rob, they could go and rape, they could go and
I told
steal
about the
animals.
problem. You see the
Mm,
problem with that Bunyoro Empire at that time.
mm,
You get a Buganda, they
mm,
were related.
mm,
I told about Bokuvada, Choga, they are always oppressed.
mm.
Tebakiri olaba oli isingoma
Yeah.
yali takkirizibwa tekikkirizibwa
Mm-hmm.
era throughout isingoma yali tasobola kutuusaako muganda obulabe kyali tekikkirizibwa, he would be destroyed. And the brother knew kuba empire n'abantu abatono tebyandibaddewo kuwangula because the other one had a bigger army naye yali akimanyi he cannot destroy. He cannot kati yali there is a way spiritualism would confine him not to harm the brother. Yandimuse era mama sometimes agamba singa ekyo ekintu tekyaliwo yandibadde yamutta, but yali tasobola kutta muganda we ate nga muganda wakimanyi nga he uses abagamba baganda they are hypocrites, they take advantage of people. For those people that's what they say because the brother knew tasobola kunzita n'amukolako effujjo lyonna ne lituuka we lyatuuka ne katola effujjo we lyatuuka he's destroyed because he's normal. Ekintu kyayatandikawo tekiriiko balala be bakirimu omulugumu ekiba kintu kimu. And there are no Baganda in the Uganda kingdom. Kati he was fighting, destroying everything. It's normal. Everything that stands for him is normal. At the end of the day, that is what Nyamuganda naye n'amufaafaaniza bwebati ekikano kiba nga kiri destroyed.
So
that is life.
So that was
hello guys, I'm cooking, so yeah.
So
I'm
that
making
was
us some breakfast. You will not be seeing me. I'll be talking behind the camera.
So that was that was the story of Chibuka, a hero from Buganda. So we had different ancestors that were related to a different kind of. We had the Mukasa in Buganda among the ancestral spirit associated with rivers and seas. These believed to be powerful Lubale, you get only this believed to be powerful Lubale. So national heroes and leaders who became deified after the death, whose presence and influence continued to be strongly felt and recognized in visually every community of Buganda. We have those beliefs. So traditional Africans, like their counterparts in other counterparts in other parts of the world, we are acutely aware of distinction between the physical living, which of course men and women and fresh blood who constitute the actual physical community, and the ancestral spirits and other suspensible beings who belong to the invisible order. It would be wrong, actually. Therefore, it conclude from the foregoing explanation of the ancestral spirits, our ancestors, that people were incapable of rational thinking, but possessed possess what's called primitive mentality that is characterized with our ancestors. Many people outside Africa, I mean the Bazungus that are outside Africa, even those that are in Africa, there is something they create within Africans that whatever we believe in, the African spirituality, it is mythical, it is primitive mentality. They say it doesn't exist, but they're the people that are making us to believe that the religion they are creating, like Lando said here, that it is binding enslavement of our conscious. They make us believe in this enslavement of consciousness, which we have never even seen. but we had proof of African spirituality and how it worked. But these people, there is a way they are destroying it in every way possible. We know very well that the idea and structure of human society for traditional Africans are essentially part of the worldview that is fundamentally holistic, scared, and highly integrated. The human community, therefore, has its full meaning and significance within the transcendental center of ultimate meaning. Hence, the belief in ancestors and supernatural order, in addition to the inherited religious import, provides traditional African groups a useful overarching system that helps people organize reality and impose divine authority and sanctions to their life. Chitegera. So we know that we there is no way you can separate Africans from African spirituality, because these are things that are following up Africans in every aspect of life. These are things Africans, however much the new religions we are seeing in Africa that are not based on spirituality, that are based on prophets, that are based on division of Africans, that are based on tribalism. African spirituality was open to everyone in African societies, just like now. Do you know that very many people they are separated, they are divided among different religious groups, but if you go to African spiritualists, no matter what religion you are, they welcome you. Okitegeera? They will not say, you're Christian, we don't allow Christians here. They will allow you, because this is we as we Africans. So um, we know that it is uh, uh, we know that of course it is essential to believe that African traditional religion that a fundamental delicate balance and equilibrium exists in the universe between the visible world and the invisible world. Okitegeera? So the creator among the Yoruba and the Guchu among the Igbo created everything that exists and set everything in its place. Traditional Africans basically view the universe as comprising basically two realms, the visible and the invisible realms. They grasp the cosmos as the three-tide structure consisting of the heaven above, the physical world, and the world beneath. Okitegeera? Nkiddemu? Eh? The these people, they grasp the cosmos as the three-tide structure consisting of the heaven. Of course, you know about the religions that you have now. Eh? So they grasp this like the structure to be among consisting the heaven. You know about the heaven. Okimanyi waliyo eggulu. You know that. Okitegeera? About the heaven, the world that we are living in, and the world beneath. What people call hell. Not so. So each of these is inhabited by different categories of beings. The creator and the host of the spirit beings, including archdivinities, inhabit the heaven above. The other divinities, ancestors, and married unnamed spirits dwell in the world beneath, while human beings occupy the physical earth. Human beings may be less powerful, but their world is the center and the focus of attention. It belongs to human beings as sensible beings to maintain the delicate balance in the universe. This is what that assures that happiness and prosperity of individuals and community. We know very well that harmonious living is clearly a pivotal value. African tradition religion, which have been rightly referred to as the womb of people's culture, plays a key role in the realization of this all important value among every traditional African group. So religion in Africa, religion is central in calculating, in promotion and realization of harmonious interrelationship among individuals and the community. We know that in the traditional African background, religion is the most important aspect of life. It pervades and permeates all aspects of life and infuses the socio-economic political uh, dimensions African within the meaning and significance. But we know that there are some more striking avenues through which the traditional religion helps the community to realize the community idea of harmonious living. They include transmission of certain key religious ideas and beliefs. So, initiation practices, ritual activities, sacred symbol forms, and vital public institution. We shall actually discuss these some of in details about our ancestors and African uh, spirituality and religion. Tewali aliwo, nze aliwo. Yeah, kyokka nze aliwo, waliwo ndiwo ne lie too long. I'm with lie too long. Yup. 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 Even let me see. Even Gerard Potter. Jared Potter, yeah. Yeah. Gerard Potter. I don't know what you talk about African religion and African religion not promoting disunity. Yeah. Yeah. So light long, what do you talk about African religion in not promoting disunity among Africans? You know, no, I'm asking Eli Too Long what he has to say about African religion. Like it doesn't promote this unity among Africans. We see very many of our religions in Africa, people being based on different religions in Africa. So, what is your say about that? About African religion, African traditional religion, African spirituality in not promoting this unity because this was the one religion before the invasion of the Bazungu, before colonialism. This was the religion that we all believed in Africa, and we had it as one. There is no way we could divide, but we have different religions right about now in Africa and the whole world, but people, they are separating people. This is about different people. Tekyantuka gye wera nno yajinguza kyokka toteekamu eyo gye yagifula ekisimu watugisuula gye wera nno yajinguza kasanvu yazigula ng'eyo temutuuka. Imagine kati gye wera olaba nze enkwata nze naze sigikwatanga naye kati olwo gye wera. All right. So we know that belief in ancestors in African spirituality, it is something which is so vital, something which is so which can't be left out when we talk about African tradition, religion, and African spirituality. We believe the belief in ancestors in is an important element of African tradition religions. The belief occupies an important place in understanding of the role of traditional religion in encapsulating the idea of harmonious living among African peoples. So one needs, however, to know the content of the belief to be better able to appreciate how it helps the people to realize the community ideas of communist living. So the ancestors or the living dead, yeah, like uh, are believed to be this disembodied spirits of the people who lived upright lives here on earth. We know that died good and natural death, that is the ripe old age, and received the acknowledged funeral rites. They could be men or women, of course, but moreover, often than not, male ancestors are prominent since patronage is the dominant system of family and social integration. In most traditional African societies, for matriarchal group or like the Ashanti of Ghana and the Ndeb of Zambia, both male and female ancestors are duly acknowledged with the completion of prescribed funeral rites. A deceased person is believed to be transformed into an ancestor, and it's not only in among the Ashanti people in Ghana, but also happens in Uganda. If someone dies, he believed to be ancestor. It becomes an ancestor if he does, because of course our ancestors, these are once people that lived, like I said earlier. These are people that once lived on earth, lived a good life on earth, and had a natural death, died. So the funeral rites in the case serve as the kind of rites due uh, so the disembodied spirit joins the esteemed ranks of full achieved ancestor in the spirit world. Second, so I'm sorry to say to joke about this. Oh, Lai Too Long says that I think Africans should return to their ancestors, to their ancient African religion. They should leave Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. Yeah, yeah, true, but the way. Eh?
Too long.
Mm.
What was the reason?
Why, wetereze kyakuleese
Tulipocheka too long lwaki
because that is easy.
determined.
Yadede. So commenting nakugundiza ezo ate nkyalina content ow'okusoma wakwena osome.
I think the
Ate
Africans
nga
should
wadda.
return to their ancient African religion. They should leave Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
Judaism.
Yeah, true. True lives
Sing it again.
too long.
Sing it again.
Me, I'm cooking. I'm going to be running because I'm making us breakfast. So I'll be and going.
obudde tekikaabizita weekwase natera okugamba wazisenza kiri omwogera kusookinga ngoye. Anyway.
Ndabika ndi mu kusumagira nebyogera because it was at the back of the mind. I was thinking about it.
So
Naye
comment about it.
nakugambye kasita tumala ebibuuzo tukeera ne tukola, which is easy.
So yogera ku kino.
Africans should go back to their African religion. They should leave Christianity. I believe it's called Sankafa. Sankofa. What? Sankofa? African religion? Sankofa? Sankofa? You mean the African religion called Sankofa? Okay, like too long. Well, it is. I think Sankofa. Ebu jangu sasule looni bansindikidde notification. Jangu sasule looni. Bagambye zino zigwako on the 17th naye bawe. Uh, I think Sankofa is a South African spiritualist name. They have Sangomas, they have Sankofas. Yeah. So they usually I don't know how they call them here. Ah boy, let me ask him. Ah, over here they are called I don't know. They are called they name them deep. They name themselves different shit. So I don't know. Muganga, yeah, Muganga. Muganga is like a doctor in the Swahili. So most of them are called Baganga, Muganga, stuff like that. In South Africa, I hear Sangomas and Sankofas. Hey, okay. So I think yeah. So yeah, whatever you say, light too long. The Sankofas, Africa is one. So yes, they are Sankofas. Those South Africans are the ones who usually use that. But I'll take it. They're Sankofas. It doesn't change. The only difference is Sankofas there. So you may say Sankofa and the Ugandan will not understand. You may say Sankofa and I think I will understand, but it all means the same thing. All right. So yes. I do believe that we should really go back because if you look at all aspects, we have failed to understand that we are believing or we are praying to the wrong people. That's one. We are believing in a different cult because religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism is a cult. It is a cult. So we are believing in someone else's designed cult, something that is actually not ours, something that is something that is actually not ours. And I think that's why even things are no longer working for us because we are praying or we are asking questions. We are asking people, we are asking questions to the wrong people who have never experienced what we've experienced, people who don't know what to do about it. So I really agree with you 100%. We need to go back to our African spirituality, embrace it, understand nature, connect because it is very important. A lot of people have neglected the basics of life in Africa. A lot of people have neglected. We are following the Neanderthals. We are following people who have never been categorized as human beings. We are following people who don't really understand what it means to be a human. And we are living out the most high, the highness in us because that godly part that we have, we are putting that down and embracing something that really does not signify or stand for us as Black people. There is no way you will start asking a subordinate for things they don't even know. Now it's like you are neglecting your higher powers to go and embrace a useless thing. And this is what people, I guess this is why even things are not working out anymore. Abuja was this thing. I guess this is why things are no longer working for us anymore because we are asking the wrong people. Abui, oripo sim. Nze ngambo niba. So yes, lied to. We really have to go back. A Sankafa. Sankafa means to return. In what language is that? Okay, it was not Sankofa, not Sankafa. Okay, okay. The Asian okay, it was Sankafa. No, it was sorry. Now I'm mixing the word with Sankafa. It is Sankofa. Sorry. Sorry, Sankofa. Sankofa is the word. Okay, Sankofa means to return. All right. Okay. In which language is that? What is Sankofa? How do we call the region? Abui. No, Kulachi. Yeah, Kudu.
Iyo mzimu bagumukutte. Bakutoye nga taata. Eh. Eh. Bagumukutte. So that is Africa. This is yeah. That is African what? Yafadda mzimu guli ku mwana. Segera.
Yeah, I got a blanket here.
I'll leave a little story. So, I'm not sure, but I practice schematic science and I was told about Sankofa. No, schematic science.
Okay, that's
Good. So, Laitulong was like he practices kinetic science. Comment here, he said that I'm not sure, but I practice kinetic science. That's why he got to know about the Sankofa.
yeah, Sankofa.
Yeah.
I was made. I was made. I'm used to Sankafa. Shit, it's still stuck in my head. All right. I think Sankofa is a word in the Akan language of Ghana, meaning go back and get it. That's why go back and get it. It is often symbolized by a bird with its head turned backward while its feet face toward, representing the importance of learning from the past to build a better future.
Based on the premises and the belief that human beings are part of the past and that is
this past shapes the
the
present.
present.
Sankofa is a word in the Akan language of Ghana. Lied too long. Yeah, meaning to go back and get it. Yeah, now I got it.
It's not a taboo to go back and fetch what you forgot. So it is also symbol of so right, that is it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a strong word, by the way. You had used those strong words. I was mixing that with the style. Why I don't know why that thing is sticking in my head. The rain is back. What the? Now someone is not gonna wash dry stuff shit like this. Why is it raining all the time?
I'm glad that you got to do this out.
Nothing. Nobody is embarrassing.
Nothing man was yours. Nothing man was
You
yours.
need
Nothing man was yours.
to manage the machine. ate olulenga olugalo nga lumubona nenokono. So alright, the more commenting wali turabe comment ya lied too long. So it's a Ghanaian language, yes. The language is called Akan, like Akan, like Akan, Akan language. The Akan language of Ghana. Yeah, so it's a Ghanaian language. Yeah. So they said they derived this from a bird with the a bird has its head turned backward while its feet faces forward. The feet are facing forward and the head is turning backward. That's where the word comes. Sankofa is that bird that has a head that is turning backward. I don't know how they understand the backward and the forward, but whichever side it says that the bird was is turning backward and the feet is turning is facing forward, which represent the importance of learning from the past to build a better future. So apparently, Sankofa is a bird. That means that specific bird. Nani uliponiga tafadhali? Hazijakanuga. So live too long. We are going to end here. First of all, we appreciate you. Tugenda kuba twogera.
Tuweze sawa. Sawa bili wale wanzuwe. Tutegereze nabwo.
Sako. Etazi zino ssatu.
Senge nina okusoma bino ebintu byonna n'ebimala.
Akan. Yeah. It's the Akan. The language is called the Akan, I think from the Akan tribe.
Ebintu byange oleka bisiimudde nawe.
Sinakwatako
Nina okubisoma olaba bwe kali.
Now they say that among the Akan of Ghana, as part of the coronation ceremony of a new king, the candidate carves a traditional stool for himself, which he uses as a personal tool while he is alive. Live too long now. I'm telling you a little bit about the Akan people. By the way, the Akan people are traditional. They are people who believe a lot in tradition. And if you follow the history of Ghana, these people contributed a lot to the wisdom building in Ghana. They are believed to be wise people. They are leaders. They are good leaders, by the way. So as part of a coronation ceremony of a new king in the Akana people, the candidate or the king to be would carve a traditional stool for himself, which he uses as a personal stool while he is alive. We have royal regalias. These are symbols of royalty, and a stool is a very important symbol in the entire African leadership because this symbolizes your power, your throne, a seat. It is your personal thing. Now, usually of course carved these tools, they would of course endow the tools with the spirituality. You sacrifice that tool in the presence of the ancestors and the guiders and everything. Nobody was supposed to sit on that stool no matter what. No matter what, because the stools held power. And by the way, during colonialism, the British people knew about these royal regalias. They stole most of the stools. Now they are in their museums. When you stole a stool, they have taken your power. You would live powerless. That people would even stop believing in you because you carved this, and this is the symbol of your throne. At times they used to say they were powers because that stool was never meant from any other kind of tree. You will just not go and get any tree, or or you're getting mahogany, whatever. I just wanted to support your show. Yeah, thank you. Seriously, thank you. And how I wish you'd always be here, but we cannot guarantee that. But it has been a pleasure. I mean, you have been watching us for almost, you know,
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah.
I am done to go. I'm still explaining a little bit about these Akana people since we talked about the Sankofas and given the fact that we've been talking about spirituality, so I'm giving you a little bit about these people so that you can know more about the Sankofa word. Um, this and I'm connecting this story a little bit with the African general issue. So we had royal regalias. Even in Uganda, the kingdom had royal, regalias. We had stools, we had spears, we had shields, we had all those symbols that signify, a kingdom and power. And most of these things were stolen by the British. They knew when once they take these symbols, they are taking power from those who hold them. So whenever this person would die, um, whenever the person who, of course, carved the stool would die, he is placed on the stool and bathed before his burial.
Mm.
The stool is then blackened and kept at the shrine of his ancestral spirit.
Mm.
Whenever, if a king would carve as they're coming into leadership, they carve that stool. They would sit on that stool every time they are giving their command. Every time they are sitting with their other members, with their board of members, let me call it so. They would sit around and, of course, um, uh, and or exercise their authority seated on those very stool. You would carve that stool alone. And like I said, the trees which they used to carve those stools were important ancestral trees that would represent a lot. Automatically, there are trees that they say ancestors sit in. Much bagamba emiti gikaaba. There are trees you don't cut in Africa. There are trees you don't cut that if you cut those trees, if you are not, you may even cut in
I
the
know.
side.
I know about a certain tree. Um, I know about a certain family. In my village, they have a big tree in the
Mm.
middle of the garden, in the middle of the
Of the
compound.
land.
The compound.
Mm.
It is the tree lived for some good years until the granny died and the tree started drying up. Ne gugwa, it fell down but tewali wadde yali abuggyeeko nti kaku abantu beeyasa ssenku mu kyalo.
You see?
But it had lived for some good
For me,
time.
anyway. So when this person who carved that stool dies, they sit that person, they sit the dead body of that person on that stool, they shower the person, they bathe that person, they bathe someone who is dead, they bathe that person, and of course they before they bury, and the stool is then blackened. It is painted black or it's blackened and kept in the ancestral shrine. So each time you go to that shrine, you will know this stool belonged to my ancestor so and so. This stool, so you will find like a lot of stools of those great people who died. Kyobola bakugambye nti nno bakabaka omusajja oli wamulabi babatemako emitwe ne bagitereka wa, they don't bury them n'egyo emitwe gye giri, oba otegedde, emitwe gyabwe gye giri, so you go n'osaba amagezi kuba emitwe gyabwe giri mu shrine. Kati ngeno stool they blackened and they keep them at the shrine of their ancestral spirit. Each lineage has a chapel of blackened stools which is the shrine of its ancestors. And of course, it is the Zulu, Sotho, Tswana, Togo, and of course, Shona, among other South African people, have their respective ancestral symbols and shrines. The Igbo of Southeast Nigeria have their Okpensi and Ofo, as well as the sacred altars. for their ancestors. The traditional Africans held or hold the ancestors as the closest link
Mm.
the physically living have with the spirit world.
Mm.
The living dead and the Bringular uh, of course, speak the language of men with whom they lived
Until
until recently.
recently. Yeah.
And they speak the language of the spirits and
Mm.
of God. They are the spirits with which African people are most concerned.
Mm.
It is through the living dead
Mm.
that the spirit would become
Mm.
personal to them, to men. Check it out.
Mm.
It is through
Tunakategeera
it
na
is
Matrix.
through the living,
Yeah.
it is through the living dead
Mm.
that the spirit world
Mm.
becomes personal
Yeah.
to men. They are still part of their human families,
Mm.
and people have personal memories of them. Africans believe that the ancestors are essential, benevolent spirits. They return to their human families from time to time and share meals with them. However, symbolically, they know and have interest in
Mm.
what is going on in their family. I
Mm.
always see you before you take anything, you pour something down.
Ooh, yeah. Mm.
And when we are eating, you are not allowed to put your hand down like this because they believe someone is sitting in that space. So we all grew up knowing you don't eat putting your hand
Mm.
in leaning against a space.
Mm.
We don't eat when you are pressing your hand somewhere because
Mm.
interesting, very
Mm.
powerful. Thank you so much, Light to Tola. We believe you don't eat while your hand is somewhere because someone is sitting right next to you
Mm.
and is enjoying your meal
Mm.
together. So that is African spirituality. Ntandikirewa.
Awo kufo.
For African people that be, and for African people that belief and ideas about ancestors to form an essential part of the effort, of course, to insulate, mobilize, and promote the community ideal of harmonious living in a society as a benevolent spiritual guardians of their respective families and communities. Ancestors are believed to reincarnate in newborn babies in the community.
Mm.
A child is named after the ancestor that is believed to have reincarnated in the life of that child. Special attention and favors are bestowed to such a child as a mark of respect to the ancestors.
Mm.
Now, family elders make regular offering of gifts, food, and drinks to the ancestors. We see this like in the Igbo male
Even the
elders,
Baganda.
all over Africa actually, not only Baganda, even at our home. Mm, Um, I was named after someone.
Mm.
Peter. I'm respected a lot because of that thing. I don't know why they believe that person incarnated in me. Ate nga ne bbaawe yali Muganda. Kati kamukusesi.
Kalungi n'ebiweerwa lwowaze.
They always say that the Igbo male elders do not normally eat or drink without first offering some portion on the ground. This one, see, he even does that. Usually, when I give him food, he does. I see him pour some water, even in the house. At times, he's pouring water everywhere. Even in the house, he just pours down like, shh. You like, why do you pour water in the house? But he's used. everything. He does not, even at school, I see you do that. He does not like do anything without first giving the ancestors down. Um, so this is a symbol, of course, of offering something to the ancestors. And we also see that the same thing is done all over, like the Monday of Sierra Leone, Avail, of course, they do the same offering to the ancestor spirits. Among the Khan, the lineage head offers food and drinks to the ancestors at appropriate time. The Adoa rites, which take place every 21 days, and the annual Adwara festival are high points of the Akan worship of ancestor spirits. And of course, we know that ancestors are generally held to be the custodians of the land on which their children live. Now, this is something that we have forgotten. We have given the land to foreign people. We have given the land to people who know nothing about it. We have neglected the custodians of Africa's land. Now, Africa is going through a lot of shit right now because we have removed the power from the protectors. We have removed the power from its guardians. We have not given the guardians of Africa the liberty to protect and fight for Africa. Throughout history, the white people have been attacking Africa in different ways. And by the way, the only way they would succeed is them taking away the religion. And they knew the powers African religion held. And they said, if we do not take away this, I told you the story. There is what they call Nyungu ya Mawe. You know that story? Nyungu ya Mawe, we saw stones, real goddamn stones, powering on the British who came to fight. Because these people were immersed in African spiritualism. And British were like, how can this happen? They had their guns, stones were hitting their guns down. The war was massive, and it was a war that British people will live to remember. That it was a war between the African custodians, the custodians of African land, who were spiritual at that time, and the British people feared. They said, how is this possible? How can stones with no hands, stones with no minds and knowledge be fighting living humans? And the British people were so surprised. A lot of things went on happening to the point that at times British people would come to attack the Africans and they hide in the bushes and snakes would come. Nature was up against the British at that time. And actually, these stories, British hardly talk about the stories, but shit happened. Snakes would appear. The trees would, there is a forest in Tanzania. At that time, the German wanted to, they were fighting. Remember, there is a portion that the British had and the portion that the German people had. There is a scenario where they were in between the forest. It darkened. It was daytime, but the skies turned to thick gray, that the British would think it was late at night. These are the spirits we are talking about. These are spirits that can go beyond. These are our guardians that are willing to fight for what they left behind. And the colonialists knew the powers that we held when we were spiritual. They said the only way we can rule these people to the maximum is taking away these powers they have. And they did it. And now Africans still question themselves like, why are we going through what we are going through? Like we don't really know the answer until we go back, until we sankofa, like Lied Too Long said. I don't see Africa achieving the basic goals. I don't see Africa becoming the Africa it was before. I don't see Africa reclaiming its authority and power if we do not let go. this new Muzungu religion and embracing the real us and giving the power back to the custodians and the rights for our guardians who, of course, don't sleep nor slumber. They don't sleep. That means anytime, 24/7, they are protecting us in whichever situation. But of course, we neglected that and we give the powers into the wrong people who do not even have our interest at heart. And then we keep wondering why shit is not happening right in Africa. They knew this, but until we wake up to realize and go back to our roots, we may not achieve what we are looking for as Africans. So they tulabeko comment teri comment aweri tosobola butabeeko. The answer, the space is reserved for the ancestors. That is beautiful. Like the tutelar. Yeah. So you know when we are growing up, you say, why don't you want us to touch down? Because like before, when you travel African countryside,
And yeah,
people don't sit on high
they even used to
tables.
tell us to sit while kneading.
Eh,
Your hands must be here.
on your thighs.
If you're
Yeah.
eating, this hand is here.
Yeah.
But I will do you sit like they beat you.
Yeah. So that
So,
was it. Tetuchalaba.
welcome here.
The ancestors are generally tribal custodians of the land which the children. We know that, like I said, that ancestors are guardians of family affairs, customs, traditions. You know that light is the sun is hitting this side. That's why I'm putting my hand here. That's why my hand is here because the sun is out now. You see, innocent the way it's right.
I'll go back up. No.
Sana takukocha. Sana takukocha.
Wafa. Leka.
Zaidi. Tayo. Ogena te katutokaja.
Wefurahi kusema.
Jacob. No, when I get when Sijawana, la guja. So don't do that. Tetukyasoma ng'okyabira abagwa bibiri.
Gambo oyagala kunyika naye tubadde tulina konti ka kafe eno pakeeti kadde katutwaliriza.
Tukakole nange njagala nnyo. Tukakole mbadde njagala buli naye nti sikalaba.
Wakwamye. Ndakulinda. Wait. Yeah.
Do you remember I was supposed to go and make my hair? Nsindikire n'ekisajja fulusi. By the way, wasindikidde omuntu eyo musirewo.
Suzaako bisatu bameka bisatu nnya bisatu bbiri.
Gyensigadde kyenkya tulina ogenda kusomera.
Tulina okusasula omufuuyi w'ennyumba leero. Naye kulikana mugumu. Easiwed. Namugumu leero.
Kirabika bali abagundi bajjayo ssente. You know they keep removing money.
Kamuteereko wasolinde.
Tuweze essaawa nnya bwe ziba zinaasobola. Akatwa kayinza ozituusa.
Kasobola okuweza essatu.
Singa bulijjo batunyambirako.
Ate nno nga koogera birungi.
Kalungi kaabalogo. I don't want every person oyanjokya nnyo.
Ekiwundu kireke kijja ku ekiwundu buli w'okiteekako amazzi okikwagula
kati
kwagula.
sikikwagula nkwagula n'ebipala ebyo ate nze sikikwagulangako ola n'wano gwe yakikwagula njogera mpola mbu nakyanyawulira
Era naye muyinzaako kwagula.
ani ankwagula
ana mu gumu ogattako eri bagenda kukuwaayo ogumu ekitundu.
Bagambye banyongezaayo gumu kitundu.
Bajja kukuwa gumu ekitundu ekyoba omanyi. Gumu ekitundu ogattako ana mu ebiri etaano sizibaze. Tetujja kuggyayo gumu kitundu. Tujja genda eri oggyeyo etaano.
Waliyo sente zaffe. Sooka okebere mu saving. So, like I was saying, that these our ancestors were the guardians of the family affairs. They are the customs and family affairs, customs and traditions and ethical norms. The offenses in these matters is ultimately an offense against the forefathers, whom in that capacity act as invisible police of the families. Whom act as invisible police scrolling or who use act as invisible So whenever you would commit a crime, and this kept people humble. This kind of life kept Africans so humble. You know, nowadays when you lose someone important like your dad, you assume they are not seeing you. You are going to be okay. You are going to be raised. You see people mistreating others. You see that your dad has passed, and now maybe your elder brothers mistreat you. They don't, of course, do as they promised, because for them this other new religion shows us that they are gone, they are no more. But in Africa's spirituality or African religion, you would know no matter what, those people are living, they are seen. That's why they say they acted as police. That feel would prevent you from committing crimes against your fellow humans and your family, because assume that now your dad has passed, you are not going to assume that he's no more, that you're going to sell your father's land and do other things and make your little brothers or sisters or your mom suffer because you inherited your father's your father's position. But you would know that anything I do right now, my father is watching. My father is going to be angry. And actually, we would even see people being punished for such kind of things. And there is a belief that whenever ancestors punish, they punish you so hard. Their punishment is so hard because they take time to do it. They are very forgiving. They may look at you committing a lot of shit. Yeah, they even warn you when they're about to do something. They can even appear in your dream and keep on telling you to stop doing whatever it is you're doing. If you neglect this, and the next time they take action, you may go through a lot and not for the rest of your life, because this is them and this is, of course, what Africa was. But nowadays, when someone dies, people even start taking what belongs to them. People start harming the family they have left behind. People start mistreating others, because in the Bible says the dead are dead. The Bible and the religion does not talk about life after, this life and the dead people connecting with the living. The only thing they will talk about is life after death, and that's when Jesus comes, and that's when you resurrect. Jesus will come to resurrect you from the dead. But African spirituality tells us that no matter what, even if it's midnight, it's midnight where I am at, it's time for me to go to sleep. You two have a great day. Thank you so much, Lady. Too long. Thank you so much, really, for being here with us throughout this time. Um, I don't know whether we shall be able to see you next time tomorrow. Tomorrow, are we coming in the morning?
Yeah.
Paper afternoon.
Mm.
Yeah, tomorrow we may come like around the same time. We are looking forward to seeing you again. Please, we don't want to miss you always. We are happy that you've been here, and we are looking forward to always seeing
Mm.
you on our live. It is me, Africa Maria, in case you didn't know, and he's my colleague, INNOSSETU. So thank you so much. Have a blessed night over there. For us, it's morning here. It's still a long day. It is 37 minutes past 9 a.m. in the morning. So have soft sleep, sleep tight. Yeah, and may your ancestors bless you with all that you desire. Thank you so much for being here with us. All right. Some comment here now. All right. Okay. Lights too long. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Good night. But so like I was trying to tell you guys, so a lot of Africa was designed, if you follow the African way of life, you will realize that African way of life was designed to keep harmony, to keep peace, to promote love above all among the Africans. And the moment we neglected that, things started falling apart. Um, Offense against Wadi Eduko forefathers. But of course, we know that's why it was very important. God, the sun is too much.
Tayinza kulaba nga emikono gizinze bw'otyo.
Of course, our ancestors are thought to meet quick and severe punishment on people who disregard the
Ngenda
hallowed
kusoma ekyo
tradition
tweteeka
of the
akatebe wano.
community, and of course, and infringe taboos and norms of acceptable behaviors in the society. So we try to strictly observe such taboos and norms, and we ensure peace and harmony in the relationship with one another, with the ancestors and other supernatural beings. What's that mean?
Ositama nalaba.
Mbesisidama. Sisidama.
Teeka akatebe ko wali kano. Okay.
I have the right camera in. Oops. Emisumali gimaliddeko leeso.
Jefferson had Jefferson had been.
Nako oli omuwala wo oli omuvuga gwe nakunyumiza alabika ayineeba obulwadde kati nze nali mmanyi mbuna ananaagira obwo kana saakulaga I think bambi abwina kati maze okitegeera bambi so ngenda tandikira awo you know that this like I was saying there is a way our religion is the African system designed us to keep to stay in harmony and peace. Until now, with that belief that someone is not gone forever, that respect still reigns and continues. Okitegeera oba otya ocommittinga crimes against abantu kuba okitegeera kati ng'okugeza muganda we alyoka atwala essente ng'amanyi kati asikidde muzeeyi oba obitegedde eri biki so the early childhood through adolescence to full adulthood, the tradition African is formed to hold tenacious to the belief in the ancestors, to reverence them as powerful and benevolent members of the community, although not in a physical but rather mystical sense. Ancestors are held up as models to be copied in the effort to restrict or adhere, preserve, and transmit the traditions and norms of the community. The African is a psychologically fully equipped and motivated to promote the delicate balance and equilibrium believed to exist in the universe through ensuring harmony in its relationship with the invisible world and among members of the community. We exercise these things throughout Africa. When we talk about the things now, there are things that are happening in entire Africa. They are happening in Uganda, they are happening in South Africa, they are happening in Cameroon. As long as those people still believe in the Africa's spirituality, these things are the same. That's why we say African spirituality was about uniting Africans because we shared the same culture whenever it came to spirituality. Of course, like any other thing, we had initiation rituals. Scrolling back, okay, we had the initiation rituals. When people look at the Africa's initiation rituals, they feel like initiation. How can someone be initiated in shit? But these people don't know that even other religions they initiate. You get baptized. That means you are initiated in that cult. You are initiated in that. But with the African, rites marking the transition of individuals and groups from one significant stage of life to another abound in traditional African societies. Now, similar rites are also found in several parts of the world outside Africa. But as Ikenga Metur rightly points out that rites of passage tend to reach their maximal expression in small-scale, relatively stable societies like those of Africa that are cyclically oriented in their pattern of in their pattern of time, reckoning societies where change is bound up with biological and meteorological rhythms and recurrences rather than with the technological innovations. Initiation rites have far-reaching implications for the life of individuals and the community at large. They innovate different aspects of life, including the psychological, social, economical, and political. The religious dimensions is clearly important as traditional African groups rely on the supernatural power and divine authority of ancestors and other spiritual patrons to, to validate their worthwhile activities and to ensure the lasting success of their intention events, of their initiation events. Of course, um, go on, oh, go on. When you are initiated, um, so we have when you are initiated, we have yeah, boy, kiragala nsome busome sijja mu kasita tebaliibwa zaeri nsome busome scrolling account kamaze sawa mmeka tuwezezza ekitundu tuwezezza ekitundu kyesaawa. So there are several rights. There are several rights of initiation for boys as well as for girls into adult status. These rights, like the Imamau among the traditional Igbo, the Ngungun of the Yoruba, Poro for young boys and its counterpart Sunday for young girls, in Liberia generally mark their transition of young adolescent boys and girls from social puberty to full adult status with all the attendant roles and responsibility. The Lunguru of Tanzania refer to their initiation of young males as Nguhura. The Nguhura, a word that in fact means growth and maturity, it began in Tanzania. That initiation is called Ngura. The word means growth and maturity. It begins with the seclusion of the candidates, the camp under the supervision of a specialist male elder known as Hisepi during the period which lasts between 2 and 4 weeks. The period long enough to brew the beer to be used for the rites. The candidates are fed on rich diets of chickens. They learn to share everything common, and they are exposed to the treasured secrets, including the tropical landmarks, myths, and symbols of their community. Now they take you in a camp, what people would call a camp, and in that place they teach you a lot of things that are for the Tanzanians. They will teach you the great importance and of course the important places in Tanzania. They will teach you Tanzanian history and show you how men in history, lived. And we see the same exercise here in Uganda. Culturally, from my culture, of course, as you grow as a boys, you may never have chance to know what boys do, where they take them, unless they tell you. But usually, I think they don't even tell us the truth. In our culture, it is kept secretive. Boys will come, you'll ask them, so guys, what were you doing over? They will start judging you, but I know usually the stories that they tell you are not the things that happen that side. And for the girls, the same thing. People, you boys always pretend, seem to always imagine, and they tell stories like this is what we do. We have got a lot of the I wanna be teacher who always do those things on social media, but those are not the things that are usually taught when they isolate us, more especially when we are coming into uh, uh, puberty. First of all, the most important thing they teach at that time, actually, you find that these are family secrets.
mm,
And people, you don't tell family secrets to people anyhow. I don't know with your culture, but with the where I come from, this is what they do. Though when you go on social media and find the so-called I wanna be teacher, I want to teach you out of poverty, puberty, I want to educate young people. The things they usually talk about are the things they do. Because when are usually most of the things are sexual, are things that people talk about marriage lifestyle. This is not what ancestors used to do. There is that time of when they are preparing you for marriage in our tradition. Tofuruma wabweru. In fact, when a man comes and says that I've chosen Maria, other men will never see me until that man takes me. I may not even come outside of the compound. And during that process, we also made ebintu. They don't teach you those things ng'oli mwana muto.
mm.
Naye olaba kati omwana w'emyaka 12 omuyigiriza ki? Ate omwana kasita omuteeka something mu bwongo
Oh,
oba
yeah.
omaze oku activating.
Mm,
But now those are the things people usually do.
mm,
But at that time, they would separate you to teach you about your legacy.
mm,
Because now you are becoming a man.
mm,
To teach you about your responsibility towards your family, not somebody else.
mm,
The responsibility of you and your society, so that you should know as you're growing up, you were born to be a leader. And that's why we saw strong people throughout history. We are no longer seeing strong men nowadays because we are not doing the right things.
mm,
A boy growing up and still a grown-up man is still behaving as a child. It was never an African thing. It was never African. The moment they know, according to age, and by the way, 12 years, a 12-year-old African girl was a mature person.
mm,
They knew what to do. They were responsible for a thing that even a 35-year-old African woman cannot be now. You understand? 12-year-old woman. If you get a 12-year-old African, a woman back in the days, and you put them with a 35-year-old, you will know that this 35-year-old of 2023 is still a young person, is still a kid. If you put those two together, because the community, families knew what to do. And these were rituals. They knew this was a duty. It was something that you had to do no matter the circumstances, no matter the situation. Come rain, come shine. You were supposed to do that.
mm,
So, apart from whenever someone came into puberty, they would teach you of your legacy. Because why do I say that? Not everyone can teach you things, is because each family has their legacy.
mm,
Each family has their purpose. Each family has a goal. Each family has what they want to be. It has a legacy that it's supposed to promote. That's why you are called Setu.
mm,
That's why you were named Setu. That's why within your clan, their names are similar. That's why, because you have a legacy that you're supposed to protect. Now, this is what they used to teach. Now, as you teach a child growing up, a child will know, okay, this is our family legacy. Is this what I'm supposed to protect before anything?
mm,
Because you cannot protect a community if you cannot protect your family. So you cannot lead the entire community if you have failed to lead your a small family. You cannot protect that family, community, if you cannot protect your own family. Now, it was important throughout history, and this was African religious role, because through that, first of all, they will bring a priest. They call priests. Priests are not only in church. We have priests even in African spirituality or African religion. They will bring those people. They fast. They carry out that ritual. First of all, is to bless you with the knowledge, so that whatever you're going to learn for the fortnight or 4 weeks, whatever you're going to learn throughout that should be absorbed in you. They would even take you, you connect with nature, so that by the time you're coming back, you can communicate with the wind that blows and it will listen. You can ask the birds and they will listen, because now you have been given the responsibility of protecting not only your family, but even the trees will know that you are their guardian, you are their custodians. Even the lakes will know that you are supposed to take care of them, so they are supposed to bow down to you. Even the forest will know that this one is supposed to take care of me right now at this stage. As you are a child, they take care of you. And that's why it was very hard to hear, nature fighting young children in Africa. And that's why whenever a young child would die, the community will be like, what did you do wrong? Why has this little one died? Everyone would come together. What have we done wrong? They would even start carrying out rituals, asking, begging, because nature had the power to protect the little one. And now, as you went through the stage of puberty, it was your responsibility to take care of nature. And even nature knew that. And that's why they would train you as you're growing up. First of all, you respect, because respect is reciprocal. You could not have nature thinking that you take care of it, it's not going to retaliate. So at that time, you were trained on what to do and how to do it. And by the time you are leaving the forest, coming back, you would feel like everything is new. I know the things are still carried on in kingdoms, because now kingdoms are the first immediate promoters of culture, you know. But that's what happens. As you are leaving that place, coming back, there is a way you feel that you are someone new. There is a way you feel that yeah, I don't know how to explain that, because it's anyway, that was it, Kidida. Kidida. So even in Uganda, like I said, we did that. But at the end of the training, um, at the end of these trainings, the candidates are prepared for the climax rituals. This comprises series of ritual dramatification to a thick forest. Like I was telling you guys, the candidates are led through a ritual dance in which, of course, we have Awi aspiring masks features. The tree that is used by the community to brew local beer is uprooted and cut into short length, mixed with other materials, and tied into a bundle with a cloth for the boys to carry. The grandfathers of the candidates assemble in the forest and instruct the initiates on the norms of course, acceptable behaviors of the community. Extracts of the instructions may read like this: Now you are big. Never be rude to anyone older than yourself, especially not your mother, father, father's brother, and mother's sister. If you do this, your mother and father will die and you'll be poor. Those are the things we are told. So if you never wanted to see your mom or daddy die, you were supposed to respect them no matter what. That's why in Africa, even right now, me, last time I told you, you saw Innocent was here. My mom can slap me at times.
mm, mm,
You see, the last time Innocent was like, even my thumb is aching because my mom hit me with a stool. Seriously, it still pains.
mm,
And Innocent saw that. Innocent was here. So, but I can't. So I even met Innocent was seated the other side. So I ran that side. Innocent was like, Maria, what is it? Why are you crying? I was pissed. But I was crying because I was pissed and I could not open my mouth
mm,
to shout at my mother.
mm,
I couldn't say anything. So Innocent was like, calm down. So Innocent was calming me down at that time. I am mature. I should have said something to my mom, but I can't do it because I'm not supposed to. You see, despite of the fact, so you grow up knowing that you cannot do. Your mom may not die physically, but her existence in your life may not be the same.
mm,
So we grew up knowing that if you do such kind of things, they are the repercussions of what you've done may to be very difficult. So that's why we um so they would tell you your mom or dad will die and you'll be poor and no one will care, for you. This is a and they'll tell you that is a very evil thing. You are big now. Do not do these things, you know, to the elders. Never lie with young girls if you do not wish to die. And that's why
mm,
you do it were people used to keep their virginity. And this is a story that was done all over. Even if you would go and ask, is it true that if I lie with a boy I'm going to die? Even the colleague you're asking was told the same. So it's going to tell you, yeah, it is true. You cannot do it because that person is not your husband. You're going to die. You cannot lie with them. And that's why people stay virgin even for a very long time. You will find boys when they are virgins even for a very long time. You will find young girls when they are virgins even for a long time because this is what they were told. Now, the instructions given to the candidates are comprehensive, covering all aspects of life of the community. The initiates are taken back to the uh, seclusion camps. On the final day of their stay there, a large crowd from the community gathers in front of the camp and welcomes with loud songs and dancing the candidates now ready for their graduation. This is what I call schooling. When I tell you that we used to school, except that our school they differentiated as informal.
informal, informal.
You see, so this was Africa at that time, Zion. So as people come, the people celebrate, and the initiates are blindfolded. They are led into the open square through the bush with their heads totally covered. The male elders encircle the candidates, forming a fence with a piece of cloth around the initiates. Some rituals are further performed, including lowering the candidates individually into a stool. The candidates are anointed with castor oil by their respective fathers, sisters, and then are sprinkled with the sorghum seed. The ceremonies conclude with the graduates carried shoulder high, the way to sound and the way to the sound of the drums. We have seeds that we hold most sacred in Africa. We have each crop in Africa has a significance. Cut of reasons.
Hmm?
Freezes.
Tuti.
Tulaba.
Yayigiye. Kola. Yazikola leero.
Sikuwunyira mu mwanzi. Sasa enyezo simanyi oli mukuguma bambi musajja wattu.
Akasenya tebakakoze wabadde oyagala kange kembaase bankuleetera okozesa enviiri.
Kyogamba mpunya akamu.
Genda osemba.
Yogera mpunya. Yogera amazima.
Towunya.
Kati nyinza ntya obutawunya naawe nga si brushes.
Eka wakayisizaamu amaizi.
Mukwano sira brush nga simanyi na gye kali bayirawe kaliwo.
Kale ogenda oyinza okuddamu okakozesa.
Omutwe gwange gwenjagala nkakola.
Kati nze nange agawadde ayagala okateeka emutwe gemale nkasembuza.
Kati kyogala tosobola kumpisinga ku mutwe.
Nsobola.
Kati biki byogera abu emirevu gyo giri mu kukola.
Yogera.
Ayogera ku nnuku.
Yogera. Tokwata ku kirevu kyange kiyinza okuddayo.
Dayiro.
Nsobola okuddayo.
Lwaki?
Nti nkugamba.
Ate nga buli nnaku nkikwata kubera ebintu buli nnaku nkukwatako.
Kyekiva kiddayo.
Gamba nze ali mu kikuza. Kati kyotamanyi. Nkubuulira.
Bagenda mu saluni bakisale.
Tekisala kigenda kukula. So like you know, we have the introduction of the Western types of school. Kanyuma scrolling nga twabeje kakomera
kakyali kawanvu tuli wano sigenda bisine bingenda vuga
abuyo genda biso tukavuga paka tukiveeko lumu tusome ogera ate tunanywa chai tugenda kulya buli mmere tukyogere kiggweyo kati tugenda mu ssaawa 3 kati ngenda genda njozeza masuuka tawulo n'ebikyali n'essaati zo kati bwe nnyanika empale nga nziyisaamu nzirekamu erigundi ey'okubiri nga nzija nkuma essigiri tukole njagala nze kanyira njogerako
kanjogere kale okomyewa
tandikira wano
so
ngene gira mpunya
ambisona ndizengera byangu within 20 minutes sinyonyola all right tusobola wabadde oyogerera ku bbiri ngaoyagala kumalira ku kamalirizi kankogere kawoba kagwerayo mu dakiika 2 ne kankogere So prior to the introduction of Western type schools, initiation rituals provided the most effective avenue for socialization and transition of key beliefs, ideas, and values of communities to successive generations. Against the background of the oral culture of traditional African groups, people relied on such oral media as speech forms, dramatic performances, and ritual symbolic forms to communicate their important ideas. So, beliefs and values to members of the community, they aware the mystery that often characterize the initiation ceremonies prove particularly favorable for the successful communication of the accumulated wisdom of the people, including ideal of harmonious coexistence in the community. In case the Ingra, for example, are the deep of the mysterious communion of the candles and supernatural beings, symbolically represented by the thick forest that provided the theater for initiation. So the community idea is impressed in the minds of the young initiatives. So masquerades and several ancestral symbols featured prominently in traditional African initiations. Such is the case, for example, within initiation into the pro for young men and even the Sunday for young girls in Liberia. So, as well as the Ima more for young adolescent men among the Igbo. Roiseba was able to arrive to a conclusion, but there's a anyways, anyway, 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 anyway. So these were the dominant ritual symbols we had in African religion and their use. We had a lot of dominant ritual symbols for every African religion, African tradition religion, wherever Africans were. We had those dominant rituals. For example, traditional Africans also preserved and expressed the ideas of harmonious community living through their dominant ritual symbols in an effort to ensure that sorry in an effort to ensure that this is other important value relating to their survival as well, preserve the successful transmitted to successful generations uh, sorry, yeah, in the absence of a developed literary culture, traditional Africans avail of different kinds of oral meanings and media to encode the communication their important cultural values over and over again. So repetition is no doubt a typical feature of whole cultures around the world. Traditional Africans rely on speech forms such as proverbs, wise sayings, and songs, as well as art forms like sculpture, dance, ritual objects, etc. So, to preserve and impress their key beliefs in Africa, to preserve and impress key beliefs in Africa, beliefs, ideas, and values in the minds of successful generations of society, dominant future objects are particularly relevant because their tremendous potential as effective meanings of communication in the oral cultural background and their prominence in the social, cultural, and religious dynamics of life of traditional Africans. They anchor they encapsulate and express for traditional African groups vital information relating to their different areas of awareness. They of course, we talked about earlier with Maria about the golden stool, which is the dominant symbol of the Akan people in Ghana, preserves vital information um, regarding the kingdom and the kingdom itself, even the traditional king of the Asante people. So itself, the culture and the religion. So the offer ritual of object features prominently in the traditional Igbo life and culture, and it is dominant symbol object that expresses for the traditional Igbo people important ideas, of course, beliefs and values concerning the religious, social, and political life. Offer has several types and wide range of functions. There are personal offer, which of course uh, um, has several types of wide range of functions. There are personal offer which are owned by individual persons, tutorial offer which is kept by titled male elders, institutional offer which is kept by officials like traditional priests, and professional offer which is used by practitioners like diviners. So the lineage of Ofo is certainly the most prominent kind of Ofo among the traditional Igbo when you talk about the Igbo in Nigeria. So it is kept by the male head at every level of Igbo social political structure. The family, the kindred, village clan. The lineage of the Ofo is great importance among the traditional people because it at times referred as to the soul of the lineage. The lineage. It is believed to represent the unity of the particular group as well as the ancestors who are thought to be the gladiators of the unity. It is normally inherited and kept by whoever is the eldest surviving male member of the lineage, or as the case may be, the eldest son of the family that has the primary of power in the community. It goes by such names as Ofo or Okpara, Ofo, Muchirima, and others, depending on the area of the Igbo land. So, the lineage of the Ofo has far reaching implications for the social, political, and religious life of the traditional Igbo. The people are predominantly patrilineal in the centralized groups. They therefore made serious use of the lineage of the Ofo to reinforce the basic structure of leadership and the most important traditional values. Ofo is primarily the medium of communication with the spirits, including the ancestors and the divinities. It is known as the ear of the spirit. As a key religious symbol, it is used in ritual sacrifices, in prayer for cleansing, taboos, and abominations, as well as a wide variety of rites. It is a social ethical function, include its use for attesting to the truth, for affirming one's innocence in settlement of disputes, for covenant making, oath taking, and decision making. So, Igbo men elders usually begin their day by offering a prayer to the ancestors and other spirit beginnings for health of the members of his family, good fortune, and general progress in life. They do this with a help of lineage of which they held in their right hand while pronouncing the prayer benediction. Most times, the traditional Igbo male elders uh, of the particular community gather to discuss serious matters affecting the community. Each of them brings with him his lineage offer to the avenue of meetings. So at the end of the deliberation, the spokesperson would normally recap the agreement reached. The assembly elders would then seal their decision by striking their respective lineage. So offer on the ground which, of course, on the ground, which of course, while invoking divine sanctions of ancestral spirits on any person or member of the community who would defy and disobey their decision. We know that offer may be of different kinds in uses in among the Igbo people in Nigeria, but it is invariably connected to ancestors and spiritual beings from whom it is believed to obtain its power and emphasis. So most male members of the traditional Igbo community could acquire and keep one kind of oath for one another. So the constant use of this powerful ritual symbol in prayer, sacrifice, and wide variety of rituals, it is recurrence in social and political life of people, including maintaining law and order, make it easily the most effective instrument of mobilizing and strengthening community consciousness among the traditional Igbo people in Nigeria. So the power of ritual object resides not itself as such, but in supernatural beings to which the object is primarily refers. So sigenze kukoma wano olowooza ziweze essaawa ssatu ate kaweddeyo. Kaweddeyo, bino si bya mugalu. So traditional institutions Of course, they talk about the public shrines, the sacred groves, the traditional institutions. Tukikola mu kweta tugenda tekasobola tutwala nano ssaawa
Trouble
naawo
that, right?
tuli mu dakiika ttaano tekasobola tukigale neewumuzeemu.
How do you remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, we shall be back, guys. Let's first have uh, some breakfast. We shall be back soon today. Thank you so much for watching and loving Black Hot Fire Network. See you soon. It has been me, Africa Maria, with my colleague, Ma.
INNOSSETU.
Chafua za chokoloma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I lied you too
Yeah,
long. Thank
yeah,
you so much for
Wasia,
being here.
Lando.
Nando, thank you so much for being
There
here.
is also this guy who's always on Facebook.
Or phone, some stuff.
No, this is
Jared Potter.
yeah, he was on Facebook. Thank you for being with us for all this time.
Thank you so much, guys. We love you so much. Yeah. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah.